Hello, and welcome back to the Nonprofit Spotlight. I'm your host, Mike Gutzler, and I'm excited to welcome Lou Cousins to the podcast today, who is the executive director at the Vienna Arts Society. And we are so psyched to have her here. Lou, can you just take a moment and tell us your name and introduce yourself?
Well, my name is Lou Cousins, and I have been with the Vienna Arts Society now for 11 years. It is a passion of mine to promote the arts, even though I'm not an artist at all. Um, but I take care of the marketing and finding new locations, and it's just been a joy. I get up every morning waiting to get to work. And oftentimes I'm at work for 16 hours a day, and I love every bit of it.
Well,
So,
thank you
yeah,
thank you for sharing some of your valuable time with us.
it's a pleasure.
Thanks. So tell us a little bit about the mission and vision of the Vienna Art Society. A little bit of the history too, if you don't mind.
Yeah. So the Vienna Arts Society has been actually in existence for over 55 years now. It's one of the first organizations that addressed the fact that artists needed a space and the community to interact with each other and get inspiration from each other. And we take our very, very simple byline so seriously, and it's enriching our community through art. Um, our community is growing and growing. It started with a group of, I think, 6 people in Vienna, therefore the Vienna Arts Society, and has now grown to cover most of Northern Virginia with various opportunities to, just uplift and delight the people with art. So that's our mission, enrich our community in every way that we can through art.
Excellent. So how do you go about organizing art shows for, I'm assuming, your artists that are creating the works that go into all your shows?
Well, the the actual organization is rather simple. Um, it's it's led by a board, an executive board, but everything that we accomplish or do or try to do is voted on by the members. Our membership could be artists or they could be friends of, just like any other nonprofit organization. Our books are open for everybody to view, and whenever we need a decision, we hope that we get enough votes from the membership to approve whatever we're doing. The process of organizing the themed shows, incidentally, the themed shows are only at the art gallery where our home office is. We don't assign a theme to any of the other locations. Um, the artists are free to bring whatever speaks to them for that particular show. And we're going to a model where the shows are going to be seasonal. So that would mean each show will be about 3 months long. Um, the themes are introduced by the members that to say this would be a wonderful title for a show. And then the beginning of the year, well, actually the end of the previous year, we all vote on the ones that may make a splash in the art center and may draw people in. Um, one of the shows that I really want to talk about is several years old, but it made such an impression on me. The theme was music to my ears. And I just couldn't wait to get in after the show was hung to see how each artist addressed this theme. And I walk in and, here, of course, there's the surf pounding on the beach. And you know that, that wowed me because I'm a beach person. And oh my gosh, there were several of those that really spoke to me. But then you look at the next one, and it's a rocking chair, an old rocking chair on an old porch. And again, I could just feel the creaking of it and how special it was for somebody to be on that porch in that rocking chair. And the memory of all of that just was encapsulated in this amazing painting. There's a cat laying on somebody's lap, and you can hear the purr and the comfort that the kitty was bringing to the artist or whoever the cat was laying on. Um, then we have this artist who does woodgraph, which is tiny little carvings. And she had the entire Preservation Hall jazz band on this wooden carving with the faces of all the musicians with expressions, and there they are with their music. I mean, it just made me want to march around our
Yeah.
our art center. And every painting, even though it was just music to my ears, a simple theme, but the paintings were just so amazingly beautiful and spoke to me personally. I'll never forget that, how impressed I was with the interpretation of their feelings on canvas.
Oh, that sounds really pretty and engaging for sure.
Yeah, it just touched me on so many levels,
Nice.
visually and emotionally, and the execution of the piece. The time that it probably took uh, to envision it and then make it so when somebody is admiring it,
Yeah.
it speaks to them as well.
Yeah. You mentioned painting. Do your artists use a variety of different mediums?
We do. We have all mediums. We even well, we have, of course, oil, acrylic, watercolor. We have photography. Photography was usually put in the background of many art studios, but our photographers are very special. That we have one that is actually been in Smithsonian Magazine, in the National Geographic. So these photographers need to be addressed and viewed, and we love to have their work in the various galleries.
That's great.
And incidentally, we do have about 11 different galleries that we're showing in now. It grows all the time. Um, we are at the Reston Government Center. Um, I mean, we're so proud to be in the church because what a beautiful place for people to, it speaks to the heart and the soul of a person to have beautiful art around them. And that's like not just my mission, but the art center's mission.
Yeah.
Again, going back to enriching our community.
Yeah. That's great. Do you all offer classes and workshops as part of your mission?
We do. We have classes in what right now we have a watercolor class by an internationally known watercolorist who, when we look at his awards, we're just amazed that he's here teaching us. He limits his classes to no more than 8 because he sits down with every single person and it's almost like an individual class. We have an oil painting. We often do, we have alcohol ink coming up. So there are various classes. Most of them are for adults or mature mature kids over 18. The reason for that is not that we don't want children's classes, but it's just so difficult for us to organize something that, let's say we have an instructor who was available from 6 to 8 in the evening on Tuesday. Well, that may not work with more than one child at a time. And whenever we put a call out for children's classes, I often get information like, well, he is available on Wednesdays and such that, so if you could get a class and he would love to be in a group. Well, it's so difficult in this area to get a group that is available at the same time on the
Yeah,
same day with the same skills.
it's
So
true.
we have been lacking with children's classes. We really have. And that's one of the goals, is to somehow make that happen, because we're one of the few that do not address it.
Got
I'd
it.
love to.
Okay. So if somebody wanted to take a class, do they have to have any kind of artistic background or experience?
Absolutely not.
Oh,
Absolutely. The instructors are so phenomenal that you can come in and, not ever having touched a brush before, they give you a supply list of what you need to bring to your first class. And some of the people are overwhelmed just with that. But with the proper guidance and leadership from the art director or the art instructor, they end up, after a 6-week course, they're so pleased. Again, it's just thanks to our instructors that are so good at it,
that's great.
that you do not need to have previous art.
Yeah. What if one of our listeners is just learning about you for the very first time, and they are an existing artist or they have some experience working in the art world? How would they go about either connecting with you or being able to be included in one of the shows that you have out in our area?
Well, we are an all membership organization, meaning that you must be a member in order to display your work at any of the venues that we offer. However, we do not jury you in. So again, you could be just wanting to learn about art, wanting to be with the artist and not have had any experience. We even have the friends of, where they just want to support the fact that there's an art center in Northern Virginia, and they want to support us financially and with attendance to the different um, receptions that we have. Um, we have there's a lot of free programs that we offer. If someone wants to find us, we've got web page, internet presence. We're on so many Facebook pages, Instagram, and all of them will lead you to an online registration that the membership is only $50 a year. And frankly, even one reception, if you attend one reception a year, that will more than pay for your membership, because we offer fine wines, we have really good food, where there's usually a program attached to the reception. So, it's well worth your while. A lot of our, we do have sponsors that sponsor some of our programs. We have demos that are not necessarily the typical art. Like, for instance, we had this one person who had won a gold medal for doing blowing sugar for cakes. I mean, he had these fruits hanging off the cake. It was amazing. So it's an art form, but it's not anything that any of our artists had ever been exposed to.
Yeah.
We offer, glass work where you can make jewelry. We have so many different avenues. Oh, and then there was a very interesting one that we had, Queen Elizabeth's calligrapher.
Hmm.
After she had passed away, he started giving classes, and he came around and did demos to different art organizations. So I booked him for an evening, and there he was. He was showing the basics of calligraphy, also an art form that normally people would not
Yeah.
imagine
Yeah.
to take.
That's incredible. What a
Yeah,
what
yeah.
a what
It's
a
that this is what makes my position so much fun. What can I dream of next?
Yeah, that's
What can
fantastic.
I introduce next? So yeah, we're out there that anybody can be a member, and you're not forced to show your work, but if you'd like, most of the I would say 99% of the shows that we hang anywhere, there are no fees. We're doing one in Green Spring Garden next week, which we are charging a fee because we're doing big prizes with that. We have a judge that we have to pay, and so there are occasions that there is a charge to hang your work at such and such a place, but
Nice.
normally no.
So when your artists do hang their art, are they allowed to sell it or put prices on it?
Yes,
Oh
yes,
wow.
every piece that is generally hanging is for sale.
Oh,
And
okay.
there are instances that the price can't be on it because it's just, the venue does not allow prices. So it would indicate the artist's name and the title, and then there might be a sheet somewhere with the prices. But again, those are just maybe two different venues that we are not permitted to have the prices
Yeah.
there.
Oh wow. But then so the artists are able to bring their art, show their art, potentially even sell their art if they had find a buyer that's in some of their spaces. So maybe you could share a little bit about the different spaces where you hang the art and then maybe how you partner with local organizations or schools or businesses.
We partner a lot with the town of Vienna. Like for instance, I'll bring up an example of during COVID. The kids did not have a Santa that they could approach and talk to and interact with or even leave a letter for. So our artists came up with this phenomenal, large, bigger than life Santa that moved all over town with a mailbox, and they were welcome to greet the Santa, take pictures with him, photography, whether we could take the picture for them or their parents. And we also every year we do participate in the Halloween parade, and the Vienna Halloween parade is an amazing um, tradition. I think probably as long as we've been around, 50 some years, Vienna's had a Halloween parade where they close down the streets, and there are anywhere from 50 to 70 floats, and we always win one of the prizes for our float, advertising our artists and working with the theme of the parade. We we also supply judges for a lot of the venues. Right now, we're working with the Gold Key Scholastic Scholarship of all of Fairfax County schools. So we have several judges that are judging really thousands of pieces of work. If you can imagine all the schools submitting their artwork, and we have a team that looks at it. We also award a scholarship for the ones that we pick as being really exceptional.
Uh,
And the kids are amazing. They are just amazing. Um, the feelings that they express in their artwork has to move anybody. It's going to be at the Innova Annandale campus. They're going to be all displayed, and it's a wonderful, wonderful show. It sort of mimics the red carpet where the kids come up on the stage, they introduce themselves, the big screen shows their work. So we're involved in every single possibility that we can promote art within the community.
Yeah.
And we were so grateful. This was amazing. Our delegate, Holly Seibold, um, came and awarded us as having been the best art center in Virginia. And the Congress of the state of Virginia signed this declaration. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, we have these amazing um, art centers. We have the workhouse, which is
Yeah.
huge. I mean, we're talking acreage and acreage. We have the torpedo factory, centers that I lust for.
Yeah.
And here we have this tiny little center here in Vienna. But yet, because we reach out so much to the community and work with the community, we actually got this award. And I think that's so rewarding.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice. So given all that success and recognition, what do you see as some of the challenges facing the arts community or your organization specifically these days?
The my biggest challenge, and in taking this job, I knew that this was going to be my biggest challenge. The area really promotes the sports. There's football, there's basketball, there's gymnastics, there's anything that is sport related. The kids grow up with that. They do not necessarily grow up with art. And it's interesting when we're judging these school kids from different areas, a lot of them are immigrants.
Hmm.
They have been brought up a little bit differently than the American child, where the American child is actually, with long-term residents of this country, they're geared more towards sports. And so you don't have the appreciation. You think that if you go to Target and buy a print and it's attractive, that is art. It's really not art.
Hmm.
It's what you have to take something that somebody's put emotion and talent and care into, and you hang it on the wall, and all at once it means so much more to you. I'll give you an example. Like somebody who really, really, really understood what art stood for. We had a show at the Goodwin House in Alexandria, and the Goodwin House is assisted living. And every day, this gentleman's mom asked for him to come take her down to see this piece of artwork
Hmm.
that we had displayed. And the artwork was a large piece with, it had a cage, and a little girl had opened the cage door, and there were birds in the cage. And as they were like little brown birds, and as they were leaving the cage, they were turning a beautiful color.
Hmm.
And the further away they got from the cage, and that's all she wanted to do is look at the bird cage painting. And she did pass away, and then he had to have that painting. It was about a year later.
Wow.
But he said, number one, I don't care how much it cost. It was a huge painting. And he said, if I have to rebuild my whole house, I want that painting, and I want the feeling of standing there with my mother and looking at it.
Yeah. It's a beautiful story.
So this is what I want. This is my challenge. My challenge is for people to appreciate art. And then it's easy. It's easy. You come home and a piece is greeting you, and the day is better.
Yeah. That's wonderful. So as you think about those challenges, how are you looking at the future and the Vienna Arts Society? What do you have coming around the corner, or what do you have any goals for the next year or 5 years for the
I
organization?
do. I would love to have a standalone building
Hmm.
with, that would be our space, that people would feel comfortable coming anytime during the day, where we would offer studio space for people that don't have the opportunity to work on their art at home. They could just come and say, this little closet is my closet and I could be here. So a standalone building, I think, just something simple like we had a call a couple weeks ago. Would we like a grand piano? Of course, we'd love a grand piano. We have nowhere to put it.
Yeah.
But how much fun would that be to have classical music, jazz music, to have people just come and enjoy various cultural things in addition to the art.
Yeah.
And if we had this center, that's my goal.
That's a wonderful vision and a great goal.
It's a tough goal.
Yeah. Well,
It's a tough goal.
yeah, and you never know who's listening or enjoying this podcast. And if there's somebody out there who wanted to support the organization or make a donation, how could they do that?
Well, we could, again, our presence is everywhere with our phone number. I'd be happy to meet with anyone and see what their goals and vision is for the community. And if they can help us enhance the 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 feeling of any community, we're there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, but you do take monetary donations. Do you take other gifts, or how does that
We
work?
do. We have, again, you could do it online, you could do it in person, you could do it by check. We even take credit cards, however you want. And no, there is no such thing as a small donation. Every bit helps. As a nonprofit, every cent we use to further the art center goals. It's scholarships, it's
Yeah.
buying supplies, it's it's not salaries, it's not, everybody here is a volunteer.
Yeah. Great. That's wonderful. Is there
Yeah.
anything else that you were thinking about that you felt like should be shared about the Vienna Art Society, or anything we didn't talk about?
Well, we hope that you'll visit. We have the third Thursday is something that everybody is welcome. People have made friends. It's a mixer. It's a mixer for the town. It's a mixer for Northern Virginia. You come in and you have a glass of wine and you enjoy the paintings, and there's always something interesting to see. Sometimes it's an author who might be reading a chapter out of their book and doing a book signing.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's a jeweler who is, internationally known, and she shows why her stuff is that expensive because of the time and the meticulous attention to detail that they have.
Yeah.
So it's always interesting and it's always fun. So come by and visit with us and let us know what you would like for us to do
Yeah.
as our community approaches any community in Virginia.
Yeah. Well, the Vienna Art Society is a fantastic space. You have a great environment. You are so hospitable. And Lou, you're just an amazing leader in our community. And we are all super grateful for you and for what you do to bring arts, not only to the neighborhood, but into the spaces where we all travel on a regular basis, and to get that out into the world. And so we're thankful for you. And thank you for your valuable time and sharing that with us today.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, this has been a
And
pleasure.
thank you for your support. You've been a mentor for us as well. So it's invaluable, really.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely.